Hello, welcome to the first lecture of the course. Today we are going to address several important topics. We will start by explaining what online violence is and what types exist. Then we will address the main causes of this phenomenon. Finally, we will discuss how the signs of online violence can be recognized by teachers and young people. Across Europe, digital technology plays a central role in the social lives of young people. It enables them to connect to their peers, learn, explore, and express themselves. A large part of their social life takes place online. This provides many positive opportunities, but it can also cause harm. Missteps can be recorded instantly, spread rapidly, and viewed by a wide audience. Content can circulate online indefinitely. Although there is still a lack of a consistent, common definition when it comes to online violence, we offer the following definition in our online course. Online violence, or cyber violence, is a new and emerging form of violence. It is an umbrella term for all forms of violence or harassment that happen with the use of digital devices. Online violence exists in many different forms, ranging from online sexual harassment, stalking and bullying, to hate speech, online trolling, identity theft, and hacking. In this course, we put the spotlight on online violence against girls. We address forms of online violence that are gender-based, which means that the act of violence is based on the gender of the victim. Gender-based violence is both a cause and consequence of gender inequality. Both boys and girls may be victims of gender-based violence, but the vast majority of these forms of violence are committed against girls. Girls are more likely than boys to be victims of severe forms of online violence, in particular, forms that have a sexual element, and the impact on their lives can be highly traumatic. Online violence may limit girls' participation in online spaces and their freedom of expression. Both girls and boys can play a role in online violence against girls as potential victims, perpetrators, or bystanders. The scope of the problem. Since there is no common definition of online violence against girls, and incidents are often not reported, the actual rate of incidents is unknown. However, the following estimates give an idea about the scope of the problem. Research by the World Health Organization shows that 1 in 3 women have experienced a form of violence in their lifetime. The EU estimates that about 1 in 10 women have experienced a form of online violence from the age of 15 onwards. For young women, the prevalence is even higher, at 20% of 18 to 29-year-old women. In a UNICEF poll conducted in 30 countries, 1 in 3 young people indicated that they have been a victim of online bullying. A study in the UK found that 51% of UK young people aged 13 to 17 years have seen people sharing nude or nearly nude images of someone they know in the last year. A survey from Plan International, including 14,000 girls and young women aged 15 to 25 across 22 countries, revealed that 58% had experienced online sexual harassment, mostly on Facebook and Instagram. For 19% of them, this led to them stopping or significantly reducing their use of the platform. According to an online survey conducted in 2019, young lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and intersex people in the EU are at particular risk of online violence, with 15% of those aged 15 to 17 having experienced some form of online harassment in the previous 12 months. Children all around the world are increasing their use of technology in both leisure and educational activities. Additionally, the amount of time spent online has increased due to COVID. During the pandemic, being online has become increasingly important. It has been a lifeline for those isolated at home, and an important tool as young people struggle to keep up with their education and stay connected to the wider world. Lockdowns related to the pandemic have pushed children's lives online even further and have increased their exposure to the risks of online violence. A European study in 11 countries showed that 44% of children reported much more cyberbullying during the spring 2020 lockdown than before. According to a recent survey conducted in the UK, almost 1 in 2, or 46% of women and non-binary people, reported experiencing online abuse since the beginning of the pandemic, while about 1 in 3, or 29% of those who had experienced online abuse prior to the pandemic, reported it worsening during the pandemic. Similarly, Europol recently reported an increase in offenders attempting to contact young people via social media since the start of the pandemic. The main types of online violence against girls. In this online course, we will focus on 4 main types of online sexual violence. They can be understood as broader categories under which many specific types of offenses can be grouped. It is important for both teachers and young people to know and understand these 4 main types, as this will lead to better prevention, early identification, and appropriate responses to disclosures, reports, or cases in school. In all 4 types of online violence, both girls and boys can be victims or perpetrators. However, girls are more likely to be victims and are often judged more harshly than boys. The first type we will address is non-consensual sharing of sexual images and videos. This means that someone's sexual images or videos are taken or shared without their consent. This includes a range of behaviors such as sexual images taken consensually but shared without consent, for example, in order to take revenge. Sexual images taken without consent, like creep shots or upskirting. Non-consensual sexual acts, or rape, that are recorded digitally and shared online. An example can be a situation in which a girl or a boy shares an intimate image or video with someone consensually as part of sexual exploration in a relationship or sexting. Then this person shares it non-consensually with others, either via messaging apps or social media. Images can also be obtained by hacking into someone's computer, social media accounts, or phone. Young people can also be victimized by someone sharing a nude image that is attributed to them, but in fact is not their own image. A second type of online violence consists of exploitation, coercion, and threats. We speak of online exploitation, coercion, and threats when someone receives sexual threats online, is coerced to participate in sexual online behavior, or is blackmailed with sexual content online. Someone can be tricked, manipulated, or forced into doing sexual things that they do not want to do in exchange for money, presents, status, affection, or other things, or by making them feel guilty, ashamed, or unsafe. This type of online violence can include a range of behaviors, such as harassing or pressuring someone online to share sexual images or to engage in sexual behavior online or offline. Using the threat of publishing sexual content to coerce or blackmail someone, or sextortion. Online threats of a sexual nature, for example, rape threats. Inciting others online to commit sexual violence, or coercing someone to participate in sexual behavior and then sharing evidence of it. Online exploitation, coercion, and threats are often part of a process of sexual violence in the real world, and can lead to severe physical, emotional, and social harm. An example can be a situation in which a girl gets to know a boy through an online chat. It starts off fun, he gives her compliments, and she starts to trust him. Later, she shares sexual images of herself. Then he starts demanding that she perform sexual acts in front of a webcam. He threatens to publish her nude images online if she does not cooperate. This process is also called grooming. Grooming is when someone builds a relationship with a young person, online or offline, and tricks or pressures them into doing something sexual. The grooming process can take place over a long or short time. When sexual images are shared, they may be used by the groomer to extort and exploit the young person. The perpetrator, who can be a peer or an adult, will make the victim feel like it is their fault, that this is normal, or that they deserve it. Grooming is a form of exploitation and it's illegal. Both girls and boys can be victims or perpetrators of this type of online violence, but girls are at a higher risk. They are usually blackmailed for sexually explicit content or sexual favors. However, boys are at a higher risk to be seduced online to perform sexual acts on a webcam, and then to be subsequently blackmailed with the recorded evidence for money. In both cases, the perpetrator can also be an adult. The third type of online violence is sexualized bullying. We speak of online sexualized bullying when someone is being targeted and systematically excluded from a group through the use of sexual content that humiliates, upsets, or discriminates against them. This type of online violence can include a range of behaviors, such as posting gossip, rumors, or lies about the sexual behavior of a person online, using offensive or discriminatory sexual language and name-calling online, impersonating someone and damaging their reputation by sharing sexual content or sexually harassing others, for example, through fake profiles, sharing personal information online, such as contact details, without consent to encourage sexual harassment, a form of doxing, bullying because of actual or perceived gender and/or sexual orientation, body shaming, outing someone, where an individual's sexuality or gender identity is publicly announced online without their consent. Online sexualized bullying often overlaps with bullying in the offline world. Anonymity on the internet may lower inhibitions and subsequently lead to meaner comments and harsher bullying techniques. An example can be a situation in which a boy posts an altered image of a girl on social media, adding the comment, "If you want sex, call me," and her telephone number. The girl receives several phone calls from strangers. Many classmates like and share the image, and some make degrading comments, calling her a slut or a whore. At school, they start to bully the girl as well. The last type of online violence is unwanted sexualization. Unwanted sexualization online means that a person receives unwelcome sexual requests, comments, and content on the internet. This type of online violence can include a range of behaviors, such as sexualized online comments, for example on photos, sexualized viral campaigns that pressure people to participate, sending someone sexual content, such as images, emojis, or messages, without their consent, unwelcome sexual advances or requests for sexual favors, jokes of a sexual nature, rating peers on attractiveness or alleged sexual activity, or altering images of a person to make them look more sexual. An example can be a situation in which a girl posts a non-sexual image of herself on social media. Other people anonymously post sexual and offensive comments on the image. The image may be doctored to make it look more sexual, and the doctored version may be shared online. The social media accounts of young people are often accessible to everyone, making it very easy for others to view, comment on, and share the images they post. This can easily be done in an anonymous way, which may lower inhibitions and subsequently lead to meaner and more degrading comments. Although both girls and boys can be victims or perpetrators of this type of online violence, it has a more lasting effect on the reputations of girls than of boys. It is important to acknowledge that these four main types of online sexual violence often overlap and may be experienced simultaneously. Experiences online can also overlap with offline experiences of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, bullying, relationship abuse, and stalking, and should be viewed as existing on a continuum and as an expression of the same phenomenon. For example, online sexual harassment or stalking can be part of a process of sexual violence in real life, and online bullying is usually related to incidents that originate in a school setting. Online violence can reflect offline victimization amplified through digital means, or it may be a precursor to abuse that will be pursued in real life. Newly emerging trends of online violence with a sexual element can be observed, including cyber dating abuse, or CDA. This is a particular form of harassment in romantic online relationships. CDA includes A. Direct aggression, such as threats, insults, and sharing negative information or spreading rumors about a partner or ex-partner with the aim to harm them. And B. Controlling behavior, such as interfering in someone's digital personal life by monitoring their interpersonal relationships and everyday activities. CDA may also manifest in the form of harassment, stalking, control, or abuse by one partner to another through digital means. Online dating app violence is a form of online abuse that appears in interactions through dating applications. Dating apps can be used as a means to abuse someone and pressure them for communication or sex by sending unwanted messages with obvious sexual content or sharing a partner's sexually explicit pictures or videos. Online dating app violence can also lead to offline sexual harassment or abuse when the perpetrator threatens or forces the victim into face-to-face contact and offline sex. The risk of experiencing sexual violence via online dating apps is higher for women and minorities. Zoom bombing is a new kind of offensive online behavior that has increased with the extended use of online meeting platforms such as Zoom due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It refers to sharing disturbing content like violent, graphic, racist, abusive, and/or pornographic images, videos, or texts, and/or sexist remarks during an online meeting with the aim to disturb the meeting or harass some particular group, population, or person. Although it is difficult to prevent, there are some ways to safeguard meetings, such as by not sharing the meeting link on social media, setting a meeting password, or locking the option to share screens for participants. Manipulation as a basis of violence. To recognize online violence, it is important for both teachers and young people to understand the concept of manipulation and how it works. Manipulation is the exercise of harmful influence over others. It occurs in many forms of online violence, particularly when it comes to exploitation, coercion, and threats. The manipulator seeks to create an imbalance of power and take advantage of another person to get control, power, benefits, and/or privileges at the expense of the other. Victims of online violence often do not see themselves as victims. They may not realize that they are being exploited or coerced, as the perpetrator may manipulate them into thinking that the way they are treated is normal or that they are in a romantic relationship. If the victim has engaged in sexual acts, this may cause them to believe that they were in control, that they chose to do these things, and they may blame themselves. These are some things a manipulative perpetrator might say. If you really loved me, you would share your nude pics with me. Don't wear that outfit, everyone will think you're a slut. If you don't do what I want, I'll tell your parents that you've been drinking. If you tell the police, you'll be taken away from your family. Everyone's doing it, it's normal. If you block me, I will share your video with all your friends and family. Victims may feel pressured or controlled, scared, guilty, or insecure. They often feel responsible for the manipulator, and they may constantly feel like they are doing something wrong. Their insecurities or weak spots are used against them, and a manipulator often openly humiliates, ridicules, or judges them. It is important for you as a teacher to always assure the victim that regardless of the actions, it was not their choice, and they are not to blame for the violence. Causes of online violence against girls. Young people engage in online violence against girls for many reasons, including peer pressure. It may make them more popular and get them approval and respect from their friends. Sometimes they are scared to become a victim themselves if they do not participate. Revenge. They may do it to shame or get back at someone, for example, an ex-girlfriend, often resulting from feeling hurt or insecure. Anonymity. The internet allows people to hide their identity. People do things online that they would not do or say offline because they think that they are anonymous. Developmental stage. During puberty, young people explore their sexuality and boundaries, and they often take risks more easily without thinking about the consequences. Normalization. Online violence is often not recognized as such and may not be seen as unacceptable behavior. Young people are often not taught what healthy relationships look like. Lack of awareness of the impact. People often participate because they think that it is fun or a joke and are not aware of the emotional impact their abusive behavior may have on others. The emotional impact is usually not visible through digital communication. Previous abuse. Young people who experience domestic, sexual, or physical violence are more likely to commit violence themselves, which they may also perpetrate online. In these situations, a lack of knowledge about options for seeking help may contribute to the continuation or aggravation of situations of online violence. Adults also engage in online violence against girls and boys. Adults may have a sexual interest in minors and may turn to the online world to get in contact with them. But other underlying causes can also be at play, including power in the safe haven of their living room. It is easy for people to get a feeling of power and invincibility that they may not experience in the real world. Lack of consequences. Considering that online violence is often hard to trace, perpetrators may be convinced that their behavior will not have any legal consequences. Gender stereotypes. Deeply rooted patriarchal patterns of unequal power distribution between men and women in society, and ideas about the subjugation of women and girls, are causally related to online violence against girls and women. Sexualization, pornification, and objectification of girls and women. Social media and advertising are full of images of women and girls who are extremely sexualized. All this perpetuates and normalizes the subordinate position of women and legitimizes online sexual violence against them. These underlying causes can also apply to young people who engage in online violence. Recognizing signs. Teachers need to be aware of the possible signs of online violence in order to be able to recognize harmful situations. Early identification is important in order to keep young people safe online and to end situations of online violence as soon as possible to prevent further harm. There are various possible signs, both at the level of the victim and at the level of the young perpetrator. We will start from signs at the victim's level. Internet use-related signs of online violence include spending increasing amounts of time on a smartphone or laptop, becoming increasingly secretive, particularly around the use of digital devices, shutting the door or hiding the screen when someone enters the room or passes by, becoming more possessive of a cell phone and acting concerned if someone else picks it up or wants to look at it, agitated behavior when answering the phone and taking calls in private, being distant, upset, or angry after using the internet, having lots of new phone numbers, texts, or social media contacts. Emotional signs of online violence include becoming a loner. Young people who experience online violence often take every opportunity to stay alone. They refrain from being in groups and take steps to isolate themselves. For typically outgoing students, this will be an obvious change. Mood swings. You may witness a victim having emotional outbursts and mood swings. A situation may go from very calm to contentious quite quickly. This can occur both in a group setting and on an individual level. Increased stress. A student struggling to manage stress could be experiencing online violence. You may notice this during normally stressful times or in situations in which the student would normally not be stressed. Displaying aggressive behavior. Lashing out aggressively is common among young people who experience online violence. This is especially true among students who are usually not aggressive. They may show aggression against peers or even educators during any situation. Displaying symptoms of depression. One of the severe effects of online violence is depression. Among youth, depression may manifest as constant sadness, restlessness, a lack of enthusiasm, chronic fatigue, and other symptoms. If teachers witness a student with symptoms of depression, they should talk to the young person and, if they agree, contact a counselor and/or their parents. Untreated depression can have very negative effects on a student. Violence online can have a tremendous impact on how young people relate to their peers socially. Victims are often attacked by someone they know well. Students may stop trusting their usual social group and withdraw. Here are a few specific examples. When a student who is on a team or in an after-school club stops participating in extracurricular activities, this may happen because of online violence. A student experiencing online violence may stop eating or sleeping regularly. This may be harder for teachers to notice, but it will be evident during lunchtime or if a student falls asleep during class. Another example relates to self-harm. This is not uncommon for victims of online violence. While it is hard for a teacher to notice, friends of the student may provide clues. The student may also start wearing different clothing to hide the signs of self-harm. The last example is about changes in friend groups. Students who suffer from online violence may switch their group of friends completely. This could be a sign that the perpetrator is someone close to them or that their feelings of self-worth have changed. Academic signs of online violence. Teachers are in the best position to identify the reasons when a student begins falling behind academically. Young people who are experiencing online violence can take steps backward in the classroom, just like in other aspects of their life. Here are a few academically related clues that online violence may be taking place. When a student does not attend school or skips classes and begins missing significant time, contact the young person or a parent to better understand the reason. This is a good time to get clues on whether something else is afoot. An important clue is when a student stops turning in homework or submits incomplete assignments and their grades drop. Young people experiencing online violence may stop regularly contributing in class. This is especially true of normally successful students who are struggling with a violent situation online. Another sign is related to loss of interest in school. Online violence can turn a once star student into someone less excited about school. If students who are regularly involved in the classroom begin to care less, they may be suffering from online violence. As in all crimes, online violence is committed by a perpetrator or a group of perpetrators. The difference is that online perpetrators are often able to maintain anonymity, and much of the violent online activity occurs outside of school and away from the public eye, making it harder to spot. Teachers need to be aware of the following signs of behavior from a possible perpetrator. Social signs in school usually include demonstrating violent tendencies, behavioral issues and/or disciplinary actions at school or elsewhere, announcing threats or plans to hurt others, frequent physical fighting, increased use of alcohol or drugs, a history of violent or aggressive behavior, young age at first violent incident, and demonstration of increased insensitivity or callousness towards classmates or friends. Personal signs and factors related to family history include increasing withdrawal or isolation from family and their usual circle of friends, having witnessed violence at home, early childhood abuse or neglect, a history of vandalism or property damage, being callous or lacking empathy for others, having a major mental illness, having a family member or parent who condones the use of violence, having previously been a victim or a perpetrator. Keep in mind that one sign doesn't mean that a young person is experiencing or perpetrating online violence, but the presence of several signs suggests that you should begin asking questions. Some of these signs can emerge at other times of stress, such as during a divorce, the death of a family member, problems at school, or a traumatic event. Nevertheless, it is important to keep in mind that anyone can be an offender. Offenders come from all classes, ages, cultures, and ethnic and religious backgrounds. They can be homosexual or heterosexual, men or women, old or young, and they may include other and even younger minors. This is it for today's lecture. Thank you for watching. In the next lectures, we are going to talk about practical steps for addressing and preventing online violence. Goodbye.